Well, I hope it's obvious to folks that there are many people who love living in Ithaca. I love my community. And much of why I love the community are the folks and the treasures that exist here. The person who's coming to the stage right now is a community treasure. I think you're going to see that after about 8 or 10 minutes of him speaking with you. When you hear about the number of young people he's mentored, raised, connects with every day, you're going to be as inspired as we in Ithaca are inspired by his actions every day. He has a couple of cool videos to share, a story to share. He's connected with Cornell University. He's the director of outreach programs at Cornell. They change the title every once in a while. Director of outreach programs, formerly the executive director for the Village at Ithaca, and pretty much does everything else in this. You can think one day it's going to probably be the mayor as well. But with that, a friend, a person we all look up to, a community treasure, Mr. Kyle Walker.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Are you hearing me okay?
No.
Okay, am I hearing yes or no?
No.
How about now?
Yes.
All right, that's fantastic. Dr. Brown, thank you for your generous introduction. I've been in this community 38 years. I came here expecting to be here for 5. I was going to head back south. I'm a native of Alabama. And got a vibe for this community as an activist community, where folks look around and they see situations, and rather than simply complain about it, folk will get together and say, let's change this. Here's where we are, here's where we want to go, let's work together, figure out how to get there. And so 38 years later, I'm very, very excited. I've always been interested in public education for a lot of personal reasons. And here's what I can say about the state of public education in Ithaca right now as I experience it. I have never been more excited about the state of public education than what I see right now. This district has come a long way. Clearly, when we're aspiring to serve every child, and every means everybody. It doesn't mean 90% or 95 or 90, it means everybody. So we still have some ways to go. But I am absolutely thrilled to see what is happening at a systemic level in this community. And a lot of that credit and accolades go to Dr. Brown. When Dr. Brown came here, I think about 4 years ago, when he was in the interviewing process, he said something that immediately captured my imagination and captured my attention. He said, I have been looking at this community, I've been doing some research, and my observation is, and I may be paraphrasing you, Dr. Brown, that the systems are not aligned to get the outcomes that you all say you want. And that immediately resonated with me, because a long time ago I learned that systems are perfectly designed to get the results they get, whether those results are good or whether they're bad. And to be able to be that insightful and to be able to make that kind of analysis excited me. And Dr. Brown, you have not disappointed. I know that you have a tremendous team of educators. You're very humble and often say throughout the community, it's not you, it's the team that's around you. I believe that you have attracted and inspired a tremendous team, and together you folks are doing a good work. And so kudos to you and all of your team. So folks, I want to say that I am especially excited about the focus of this conference, the 3 E's. And the reason is that I believe that that speaks profoundly to an educator's mandate in the simplest and the most fundamental terms. Let's be real about this. If we cannot, 1, engage students, then there is no way in the world that we can, 2, educate them. I believe it was Frederick Douglass who said quite profoundly, education is liberation. And isn't liberation the ultimate expression of personal empowerment? I believe it is. I think Frederick Douglass was absolutely profoundly right. And when we look at this construct in the context of a commitment, a school commitment, a community commitment to helping every single child succeed, we recognize that clearly we got some significant challenges ahead. But see, here's the good news. We also have, with those challenges, some amazing, exciting, and urgent opportunities. And so I am sure that you agree that each of these 3 E's in and of itself could be an entire seminar topic. And so I have chosen, in the interest of time, to focus on engage. I can tell you that this talk could very easily be titled Inspiration That Leads to Engagement. Let me start by saying this, that we must simply be unrelenting in our resolve to help students get off the sidelines and into the game. What game? The exciting arena of learning as an active process of discovery. Here's the given in our, we can call it an equation. Many students successfully navigate the K-12 experience, and they are already very, very engaged. There are obviously reasons for that. Among those reasons are preparation and readiness, family and other kinds of supports that are there for them. And obviously, let's not overlook the individual student's own personal drive and determination. And that is wonderful. We are very fortunate. This is a very engaged community at a lot of levels, and there are many children like the ones that I just described. But here's the reality, and I'm sure that this is the reality in a number of your districts. There are also many who don't navigate this K-12 experience very well. And likewise, there are reasons for that also, including reasons that represent really the absence of some of those same things I just articulated for the other group. And so, as I stand before you, I will not pretend to have all the answers. I will, however, share some attitudes, some thoughts, some philosophies, some practices, some strategies that have helped me over a really long period of time in this community work quite successfully with a number of folks, with a number of students. And so, for a broader context, my cumulative experiences are drawn from being an alternate instructor in the district for the last 20-something years, a foster parent of 41 children over the last 13 years, including 80% of whom have been teenagers, all of whom went through the Ithaca School District, of being a mentor, of being a coach. So I have engaged with students on a lot of different levels. And these things simultaneous to my various appointments at Cornell as a director in the Learning Strategy Center and for the last seven years or so, outreach liaison from Cornell to the school district. So there's been a lot of intersections of my life with children. And so as we go on, as we go on and talk about engagement, there are 2 important truisms that I want you to keep in mind. First thing is this, because we're going to be talking about some paradigm shifts. The first thing is this: people do not generally do things differently until they are able to see things differently. Folk won't do something different until they are able to see something different. And then there's a corollary that goes with that. And that is this, that changes in attitudes typically bring about changes in behaviors. And so I want you to take note of the first thought that comes to your mind at the end of this sentence. And I'm going to talk about what I've observed. I have observed that one of the more common, quote-unquote, explanations of why many students aren't actively engaged is that they are simply not, what? Did I get motivated?
No.
That's exactly it. That is the most commonly given explanation that I hear from educators about why children are not engaged. And perhaps you have felt that way, and perhaps you have said, oh my goodness, despite my best efforts, there are some of my students that I just cannot seem to motivate. And so let me suggest to you that that might be the wrong focus. And so why am I saying that? Well, here's why. I've thought about this a lot. I've experienced it a lot. And so here is what I believe. First of all, let me ask you this, somewhat rhetorically. To what extent is motivating a student actually within your personal locus of control? And so just think about that. Here's my feeling about that, based on my own collective and cumulative experiences. Number one, I believe that motivation is essentially internal. and that I simply cannot create or manufacture that within somebody else. But let me tell you what I can do. I have found that I can appeal to something in them. I can appeal to something in a student. And through words and actions that affirm, that encourage, and that inspire, I can create or help create within them that motivation or that urge or that inkling or that inclination toward motivation. Why? Because they begin to respond in positive ways to the inspiration that comes from those things, call it external stimuli, things that affirm, things that encourage, things that inspire. And so here's the caveat as I drop the text stuff up here. The caveat is that affirmation, that encouragement, that inspiration absolutely must be genuine and authentic. Because if it is not, students will call you on it and they will see that it ain't nothing but a game, but playing games. Students are incredibly perceptive. And in the process of that affirmation, of that encouragement, of inspiring, here's what I know. I know that I am building a bridge and the foundation is fundamentally relational. And I believe that it starts there. And the message that is being imparted is this one. The message is, young man, young woman, I care about your success and I believe in you. I am sure that all of you have heard and can quote this even in your sleep, that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. I believe that truer words have never been spoken, and I believe that the most critical and discerning audience is young people. I absolutely believe that. And so for many students, motivation becomes then the byproduct of the genuine and authentic expression of that caring through affirming words, encouraging and supportive actions, and the inspiration that students tend to draw from that. As educators, clearly we want to see every student succeed. That's why you folks are in the business. There would be no other logical reason to get into something this complicated, this potentially frustrating, this demanding. Obviously you want to see students succeed. And you're not striving for that elusive or abstract perfection, but there's absolutely no question that you certainly want to continue to get better. You want to continue learning how to be more effective in your day-to-day engagements with young people. Let me paraphrase something that I heard, and this has resonated with me strongly since I first heard it. Whatever our ability to teach, it will be our ability to inspire that makes the difference in whether or not we are able to reach certain children. Unfortunately, I believe that there are really, I think too many people tend to grossly underestimate their ability to inspire. And I realize this generalizes a bit, but I think that folks tend to think of somebody inspirational as let's say Martin Luther King Jr., standing before 250,000 people declaring that he has a dream. Was that inspirational? Absolutely. We've all heard the speech. And it just brings chills to me every time I hear it. And so yes, that was profoundly inspirational. Dr. King was rightly recognized as perhaps one of the most inspirational and eloquent figures of the 20th century, or in my opinion, of any century. So yes, that was incredibly inspirational. But here's an interesting contrast. Now, I was born in Montgomery, Alabama, 2 years before the historic bus boycott. And as that drama played out on the local and the national scene, reporters were, just swarming over Montgomery, and I read the account of a reporter interviewing various folks who ultimately, during that boycott, would walk some 365 days or 67 days without taking a bus. And this reporter interviewed this one elderly, particular black woman. And he said, ma'am, don't you get tired of walking in the sweltering heat of this scorching Alabama summer? And I'll never forget reading that account. This old woman said, well, yes, sir, it is hot out here, and my feet is tired, but my soul is rested. And so I would submit to you that in her humble yet resolute, grammatically incorrect way, that she too was incredibly inspiring, particularly to those who were walking along with her, and those who were participating in that historic monumental movement and protest, and those who were in sympathy with them all over the country. So what's the takeaway? Inspiration doesn't require you to be eloquent. It just requires you to be committed and sincere. So I believe that this is particularly true of students. And as we work to ensure the success of students, what we believe about them, and importantly, what they believe about themselves as learners, is often far more important than their present ability. And when their perceived ability is filtered through lowered self-esteem and self-image, we know how that negatively affects their confidence. And not surprisingly, how it inhibits their willingness to engage as active learners in an education process. And when self-limiting perspectives change, students are clearly much more open, much more eager to engage, more willing to take real and perceived risks, because education involves certain inherent risks. Those students become more open and therefore better able to access the teaching, so the learning is actually occurring. I want to share an experience with you. As an alternate instructor in the Ithaca district for probably 23 years, I have worked with a lot of students. I have worked with particularly a lot of challenging students. And there's this one 16-year-old girl, I'll never forget, I use this example often. I got a call from the district registrar. I said, Cal, we've got this young lady. We are trying to match her with a tutor. Everybody we have tried, it does not work. She is not respectful. She's not actively involved. I mean, folks are just frustrated. We have been trying to pair her with somebody. We need to get her somebody to work with. Are you available? And I said, yeah, I am. I'll do this. And I frankly have gotten that kind of call a lot over the last 20 years or so. The young lady came into my office. Her mama was with her. And as soon as they hit the door, I said, there's going to be some drama in this room. It was clear that she didn't want to be there. The way she talked to her mother, I just said, young lady, we don't talk like that in here. I don't know what's going on between y'all, but you're going to have to show a little bit more calm and a little bit more respect. Y'all, we got to move past this. We sat down. Her mother said that her probation officer had mandated her to be there, and that was probably her motivation for at least showing up. Her mother left. Everything I said to this young lady, just trying to break the ice, trying to build a relationship, build some rapport. Everything I said to her was a grunt. What do you like about food? So can I see what kind of work you got in the binder? Here. I ain't doing that. Okay. Tell me about the school experience. What do you like? I don't like nothing. Okay, you like to go to the mall, spend money. I'm sure, you buy stuff, you got an office change, you got to do like math. I hate math. Read anything like that? I don't know how to read. By the way, the paperwork that came with her said that this 16-year-old is at a 3rd grade reading level and doing math at a 2nd grade level. 16. And it was clear we weren't going to get to reading, writing, and arithmetic that day. And I'm okay with that, because it's all about building a relationship. And so I said, well, young lady, are you hungry? Yeah, I haven't had anything to eat. Well, where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, what do you like? I don't know. Well, do you have a favorite restaurant? No, I like Chili's. I'm sorry, what did you say? I like Chili's. Okay, let's go to Chili's. And so we went to Chili's, left the books in the office. And here's the conversation. So, tell me a little about yourself. What do you do well? What do you like? I don't do nothing well. Okay, now, I'm not talking about school right now. I'm just saying, what do you do? What do you do that makes you feel good? What excites you? Lit up like a Christmas tree. I like to run. What do you like, a sprinter, a jogger? Well, you don't know, I don't jog, or I don't do this and that. She said, I have every blue ribbon from every 100-meter dash I have ever run. I said, wait a minute, I ran 100, you know, I didn't win all the time, so I got all of it. She said, well, I never lost. Big smile on her face. I'm sitting there thinking, is this the same child? Big smile on her face. I said, well, you know, so tell me about this. And she said, I got all of them at home. They're on my mirror. They're hanging on the mirror in my bedroom. And she got all of them. She said, I got all of them. I said, wow, you must be an amazing sprinter. She said, I'm really good. I said, so tell me, so what are you thinking when you get in the blocks and they get ready to fire the gun, right? She said, I got this. I know I'm going to win. So what am I seeing? I'm seeing confidence. I'm seeing assurance. I'm seeing, I know I'm good at this. And the wheels are turning. I said, well, what else do you do? Well, you know, I'm from, I think she said Schenectady. She said, you know, at the Boys and Girls Club, I used to go when I was 13, and I used to help the coach teach soccer to the adults. I said, wow, you're really good at sprinting, you're really good at soccer. And I said, you know, how did you get like that? I mean, did you just like pop out the womb like that? Oh, no, I practiced hard, and I just got better and better and better. I said, wow, so it sounds like you mastered the fundamentals of running and playing soccer, and now you're not just good, you're excellent. I said, young lady, let me tell you something. If you master the fundamentals of basic math, you will be higher than a second grade level. If you master the fundamentals of reading, you will be on grade level. It's all about, and the confidence with which you're speaking to me now is a total contrast to how you talk to me about school. And I understood where she was coming from, because when folks are struggling and folk are embarrassed and folk don't want to reveal their ignorance and experience the pain and the discomfort and the frustration, they just don't want to deal with it. And so as we worked together, she said something to me very profound. She said, when I came in your office that day, I was hoping you would quit, just like everybody else did. And I understood what she was saying. I believe that she did not like what she was as a 16-year-old, wanted to change it, but it was more comfortable continuing to struggle in that way and be completely unengaged than to be vulnerable and to deal with the embarrassment and the pain and the frustration. And so I understood that. And so I shared that experience because, and let me just say this, by the time she left, I think I worked with her for about 2.5 months, I would send her up to the board and make up simple algebraic equations. And because we had taught her to master the fundamentals, she was able to do it. Even though she made mistakes, she was willing to try. And she made significant progress. I share that because, to quote an educator who I have yet to identify, this is what he said, or she, I don't know who to attribute this to, but this is what the educator said. We must stop asking the question, how smart is this particular child, and instead focus on how is this child smart. Let me share another relevant quote. Maya Angelou, people will soon forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Affirm, encourage, inspire. Let me share with you a very quick example. Then there's a couple of quick videos that I want to go to. 8th grade, 1967, Grant Junior High School, Syracuse, New York. My social studies teacher's name was Miss Cornfield. And after school one day, I'm walking down the hallway going, I think, football practice or something, and she is outside her door talking to another teacher. And I recognize that she has something in her hand. As I go by, she calls me over. She says to the other teacher, "This is the young man that wrote this amazing essay." And I think we had done the equivalent of some, standardized test or something. It was social studies, and I remember that the essay I chose was titled, they gave you 3 or 4 things to choose from. The one I chose was one called, entitled, "It Takes Both the Black and White Keys of the Piano to Play the Star-Spangled Banner." And that's what I wrote on. And so Ms. Cornfield said to her teacher colleague, "This is the young man that wrote this amazing essay." She said to me, "I've been reading this to him." She looked me in the eyes and she said, "You are an amazing writer." And as I walked on to wherever I was going, I walked a little taller. I felt a little stronger. She had, if you're familiar with the book, How Full Is Your Bucket, she had made the kind of deposits in my bucket that paid dividends long past the time I was in her classroom. And while that teacher was not a great orator, going back to what people think about as inspirational folks, she certainly did understand the value of encouraging words, boosting students' confidence by recognizing and affirming things that they do well. Now I want to, there's no smooth way to do this. Dr. Brown, am I down to like 3 minutes? 2? 2, okay. All right, let me show you 2 quick videos. I need my tech help here. I want you to listen to this young man. Just go ahead and put the next one. I want you to listen to this young man, and then I'll tell you a little bit about him. I want you to listen to what he
says in general. It empowers a person who, it just encourages you to go and make goals and to fulfill them. After you're done with the program, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. But really, like all things, it takes the program and yourself together. Well, I had a goal, really. I said I was going to get a 4.0 for 1 semester in 9th grade. And what I did was, I guess I programmed it all together. I think about it, then you do it, write it down. In my case, I just thought about it. And I decided that's what I was going to do. And so I just went ahead and did it, I gave it my all. And then it just turned into a 4.0, turned into other stuff, and it was a whole year just of 4s, basically 4.0s.
So in terms of engaging students, that young man was a student in the Ithaca School District. He came into my life through the foster care system. Prior to that, as he was in grade 4, he was going in 4th grade, he had been in 3 other elementary schools in this district. He found stability with that placement. And he was in the same elementary school through 5th grade. He went through Boynton Middle School and graduated at the High. He is currently a college student at TC3 studying exercise, I think it's exercise, majoring in exercise studies. This student went to a seminar. We're talking about getting students more engaged. He was a decent student, but he went to a seminar sponsored by our organization, the Village at Ithaca, and that seminar challenged him. We do that in partnership with the school district. That seminar challenged him and all the other students there to dream big, to set high goals. And if the presenter said it once in the seminar, he said it 100 times. He said to those students, if success was absolutely guaranteed and failure was simply not an option, what would you desire to do? And that 6-hour seminar on a Saturday, where people told us, you are absolutely crazy if y'all think teenagers are going to come out to a seminar on Saturday, not part of their school, they're not getting credit for it, they're not paying for it. Y'all must be out of your minds. We have had as many as 100 young people come out to that Saturday seminar. But this young man that you just saw, he decided at that seminar going into 9th grade that he wanted to get a 4.0. And he earned it, and you heard him talk about it. He made a decision because he was being challenged to engage more. Why settle for just being an okay student when you can be excellent? And that is an example of partnering, students partnering with the community at large, because everybody has a vested interest in seeing all of our students do well. Am I done?
You have to show that last.
Got to show the last one. The second video is only 42 seconds, and I want to show you this one. Let me set it up for you. This is a young girl who also came into my life through the foster care system. She is the middle child of 7 total, 7 children total. Too young to, you know, kind of vibe with her older siblings, and too old for the younger ones. And was caught up in this, you know, I'm invisible, who am I? I'm not good at anything. You know, I don't do anything well. She was an ESL student, as was the rest of her family, behind grade level and struggling with language, and just didn't find her groove, just didn't find her niche. Wasn't very involved in school, was not very engaged. I want you to take a look at this video because she joined the 4th grade girls basketball team. Then I'm going to tell you how the story ended. Tech person, please. Hit the button. Ain't nobody in here more tech challenged than me. Yes, sir. After playing basketball and distinguishing herself and winning affirmation and accolades from her teammates, from coaches, from other players, from all the parents of other teams who came out to watch them play, this young lady's self-esteem grew. Her confidence grew. And it transferred to the classroom. And her teacher at Bell Sherman, Nancy Thompson, called me and said, Cal, she is a different person. She's laughing, she's trying, her performance has absolutely soared. She would come home and the first thing she said, Mr. Cal, I'm going upstairs to do my homework. Call me when dinner is ready. Before hated to do homework, lied, said she didn't have homework. You see. And so engaged students, when we create pathways and opportunities for them to become more fully engaged, there are benefits across the spectrum of their educational experience. Those things help to get students off the sidelines into the game. As I said, people generally don't do things differently until they're able to see things differently, feel things differently, experience things differently, and changes in attitudes do bring about changes in behaviors. 4 things I want to leave you with. You don't have to think of yourself as inspirational to be inspiring. Simply plant seeds of affirmation and encouragement, and something beautiful will grow. Second thing, a child doesn't need to stand out in any particular way like sports or anything else. Each one is a blend of gifts, talents, and abilities that make them uniquely who they are. And finally, our creative challenge is to recognize those gifts in children, affirm their multiple intelligences, and encourage them to the fullest creative expression so that they can engage fully as active learners along the continuum of their educational process. That's my feeling, and I'm sticking to it.